Hi, welcome to Project Geospatial. I'm Adam Simmons.
And I'm Mason Rothman.
And in this segment, we're going to actually talk about the post-St. Louis Gateway Forum, the aftermath, basically. So everything we experienced and just, quick summary of what we went through while we were out there the last couple of days.
Yeah, it was a great little trip, actually. So we went out there, we headed out there, and we got there on, the event started on Monday. And we went through a few of the different events, and it's some exciting news.
So the events involved a networking social over with the St. Louis Cardinals that night.
That was impressive.
On Monday night. And then we got involved with the actual, call it the industry. Normally we call it Industry Day, but they had a series of talks from a number of companies. They did some flash talks on Tuesday, and also had a lot of local sponsors there as well. So what some of these talks involved was just increasing awareness of the machine learning and analytics efforts that were going on. And see what else.
Well, there was one board where it was some younger folks, and they were talking about getting into the geospatial industry as well.
Absolutely. So there was also, and then there's the university board, which they talked about trying to basically their outreach efforts with students and how they actually brought the challenges in terms of training younger folks into the geospatial industry as a whole. There's a high demand within companies trying to grab a lot of folks straight out of college, but how do you get high schoolers high schoolers going into college interested down that career path? So it was an interesting forum to talk about that.
Right. And not just once they get into the career path, or once they get into the career path, making sure that they stay there and have some kind of satisfaction and happiness at the same time.
So we'll do some follow-ups with those folks to understand what those specific outreach efforts are, and perhaps if there's anybody interested in understanding what those career paths are, we can provide some resources.
One of the best parts of that was when Director Sharp got up and actually spoke, though, and gave he did his what musical choices did he do for his?
He did. I want to say it was Buddy Holly's coming to mind.
Okay, Chuck Berry.
Chuck Berry.
That's right. Okay.
Not Buddy Holly.
So, but the best part for me, whenever he presented those slides, was the 20%, 20%. So he broke out the workforce and how it will potentially be laid out here. So there'll be 20% that's going to be unclassified work. Then there's going to be another 20% where it's going to be flexible in between there, or could possibly be full-time. So you're looking at possibly 40% of the St. Louis workforce being unclassified, which is key.
And just to clarify, you're actually talking about the new facility that's going to be built in St. Louis.
That's right, the new Campus East, and all the jobs that are going to be coming along with it. And folks are, I don't have a clearance. Well, don't get discouraged. What they're doing, and they're working with their local startup companies as well to help engage this T-Rex, et cetera. And they're going to have this potential 40% unclassified workforce, which is really going to help people get in.
It can. And that's where the tie-in to the educational aspect comes in, where it's not just about providing that career path. It's also ensuring that there's enough people that want to pursue that career path just out of high school alone that fill that demand. Because the demand is high. We're not sure there's enough people to fill it at this point.
True.
So you did mention T-Rex, and there was a number of press releases to come out of this conference, including one specific to T-Rex and Geosaurus.
The Geo Futures?
Yes, Geo Futures. Sorry.
No, it's fine. In fact, Tish Long and Robert Cardillo got up and spoke on it as well. There's several key leading folks that are on this initiative to make sure that this is a successful launch, transition, et cetera.
Yeah, so you can read the press release, and I don't want to go too much in detail because we have a couple other announcements to go alongside that. However, just to kind of touch base on what it is, it's basically their effort to cultivate the geospatial industry for St. Louis even further, double downing on St. Louis's investment toward, it's again, growing it out, right? So, and I mentioned a couple other announcements. So we had a number of interviews with folks out there, including Mark Tegenhurst from T-Rex and Geosaurus. And he talks a little bit about T-Rex and Geosaurus, all the innovators and startups that are part of that. And when Geosaurus officially kicks off, how they can how people can potentially get involved, and the level of interaction they're going to have with the local and NGA representation there. Another interview that we did was Andy Deering.
That was a great interview.
It was.
And if you're in St. Louis or you're thinking about getting into business or getting into the geo world in St. Louis, I'd highly recommend reaching out to Andy because he is so keyed in with all of the different elements. And he was the one that told us about the geo futures as well. And he's part of that and of the launch and the initiative and whatnot.
But just the amount of interaction or involvement he has with grassroots efforts to get the St. Louis communities involved with not just potential career paths, but understanding what the geospatial technology and capabilities has to offer. And so that, you know, having a facility like NGA, new headquarters coming into St. Louis, doesn't completely it's not disruptive. It becomes a part of the community.
Yeah. So reach out to Andy if you have any questions about St. Louis.
Well, yeah. So and you'll hopefully in the next okay. Anyway, Justin Bennett is another person we interviewed. He's with Geodata IT. Okay. And so specifically geodataIT.com. So if you do just geodata, so make sure you do that specific wording. And you'll hear a little bit more about what Justin does, but Justin's office is actually within the T-Rex building.
Oh, excellent.
So he's part of those small companies that are attached to that incubator or that small business office.
Right. And it's not just T-Rex for the startup stuff, because remember we went over to some video editing production folks, et cetera, and they had a startup lab there as well.
Bitsu Media. So Bitsu Media, a very fascinating group that is highly involved within the community too, but they specialize in producing ads and documentaries and such, and performing a wide variety of media, providing media products and services to folks who need them. But just to kind of go back on those three individuals I mentioned, look for those interviews after in the next couple of days. We're going to release them on our channel, and they should provide a ton of more insight of what's going on within the St. Louis area.
For sure.
So any other last things we want to mention, coverage about? We will mention Maxar has also had an interesting
right, and we went to an after party or an afternoon mixer at their new facility there.
A new facility. Tell me more about this new facility. What are you talking about? New facility?
So it's a renovated, looks like it was a warehouse, et cetera. Like a lot of and T-Rex, a lot of places look like that, like they were, St. Louis being the industrial hub it once was. So they're taking these buildings, renovating them, et cetera. So it's in the downtown area. It's not too far from T-Rex.
It's in the the Globe building, as I recall.
The Globe, okay, yes,
yeah.
All right. But it was a great time, great mixer.
So Maxar is vesting their presence heavily within the St. Louis area.
Right, there are several companies, but Maxar, yes, for sure, is going all in, and that is that's confidence. That's good to hear, and must make the people of St. Louis feel good too.
Great. All right. Well, I should ask again. Anything else we got to add?
I don't know. Well, Maxar, I really enjoyed the hand dryer or the hand dryer tissue combo in your bathroom. Thank you so much. I've never seen anything like that, and thank you. All right. You asked if I had anything else. Yeah.
All right. Well, I'm Adam Simmons.
And I'm Mason Rothman.
So we'll see you next time.